You know, something huge is brewing in the Middle East, a decision that could honestly change everything. So, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down. We're diving deep into this really high stakes question. Should the US launch a military strike on Iran? We'll look at the arguments for and against. Right now, as we speak, a massive military force is moving into position. And when I say massive, I mean it. We're talking about a concentration of ships and planes, carriers, submarines, the whole 9 yards, in the Persian Gulf, the Med, and the Red Sea, on a scale we literally haven't seen since the Iraq invasion. The stage is being set for a truly monumental choice. So that's the big question, isn't it? What are the calculations being made behind the scenes? This is definitely not a simple yes or no decision. And in this breakdown, we're going to unpack the powerful arguments on both sides of this historic dilemma, all based on the analysis of Davis Hanson. Okay, but before we can even start to weigh the pros and cons, we've got to get the terminology right, because in a debate like this one, the words we use are absolutely critical. Now, this is super important to understand. Any action against Iran wouldn't be in response to a direct attack that's already happened. It would be one of two things: either a preventive war, where you're trying to stop a long-term threat from building up, think their nuclear program, or it could be a preemptive war. That's when your intel says an attack is coming, like right now, and you act first. It's a controversial difference for sure, but getting it is key to understanding the entire debate. All right, let's look at the first side of the coin, the case for taking military action. I mean, what are the arguments that are so powerful they put a potential war on the table in the first place? The argument for a strike really stands on four main pillars. You've got a long-term strategic goal, the urgent nuclear question, what some see as a moral duty, and then the hope of actually bringing some stability to a very volatile part of the world. So let's dig into each of these. So first, let's talk strategy. For almost 50 years now, with really only one exception during the Obama administration, getting rid of the current regime in Iran has been a consistent goal. So why is that? Well, the thinking goes that this regime is just fundamentally hostile to U.S. interests. It messes with oil markets, threatens our key allies, and of course, backs the proxy groups that have killed a lot of Americans. And then you have the moral argument, which is incredibly powerful. The numbers are just staggering. Estimates suggest the Iranian regime has killed somewhere between 10 and 30,000 of its own citizens during recent protests. So for people who support a strike, it's not just strategic, it's a moral duty to help the Iranian people against a government they see as just brutal and murderous. This really gets to the heart of the regional argument. A lot of people believe that far from making the Middle East more chaotic, a successful strike could actually stabilize it. See, Iran is the main money pipeline for proxy groups, militias acting on their behalf, like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. The idea is simple. You cut off the money, and these groups could basically just die on the vine. But of course, it is never that simple, is it? There's an equally compelling and frankly terrifying case to be made against any military action. The risks are just enormous. So on the other side of this, the risks are huge. They basically fall into four buckets: the direct threat to American troops and equipment, the political explosion it would cause back home, the potential for a humanitarian disaster, and maybe the scariest one of all: there's no clear or easy way to win. Let's start with the military risk. I mean, an aircraft carrier is this incredible symbol of American power, but it's also, let's be real, a very, very big target. We're talking about 5,000 American personnel on each one, and they cost somewhere around $13 to $14 billion. Iran has some pretty sophisticated drone and missile tech, so putting these assets right in their backyard, well, it's a monumental gamble. Then you've got the politics back home. A huge chunk of the president's own base is deeply neo-isolationist. What does that mean? It means they want America to pull back from foreign conflicts, not start new ones. Launching an optional war goes completely against that very powerful no more forever wars feeling that's out there. And the humanitarian risk, it's just profound. The Iranian military has a nasty history of embedding its command centers right in the middle of civilian areas. We're talking near schools, hospitals, mosques. That means even with the most precise strikes, collateral damage is almost a guarantee. And that could turn the Iranian public against any American help in a heartbeat, even if they hate their own government. So all of these factors, all the pros, all the cons, they all land on one person's desk. Let's take a look at the specific pressures facing the decision maker in a situation like this. Here's the thing, and this is so crucial. This isn't a decision that can be put off forever. You just can't park that much military hardware halfway around the world and leave it there. The wear and tear on the machines, and more importantly, on the people, means there's a very limited window to make a call. Maybe only about 6 weeks. The clock is ticking. And this decision isn't being made in some kind of perfect, sterile vacuum. Oh no. The timing is complicated by all sorts of outside pressures. You've got the midterm elections coming up, you have to worry about the readiness of key allies like Israel, and even the calendar matters. An event like the Olympics could turn a regional fight into a global crisis. It's just another variable in an already impossible equation. So, with all this complexity, what's the path forward? Well, no matter what the final call is, the source we're looking at suggests there is one crucial first step that has to happen. The big recommendation is this. Before a single thing happens, whether it's a strike or a decision not to strike, the president has to talk directly to the American people. The idea is you have to build your case. You explain what the threat is, what's at stake, and you have to be totally transparent about both the potential upsides and the very, very real dangers. And part of making that case is explaining why this matters to you, to me, to everyone. Iran's location gives it control over the Strait of Hormuz, and that little body of water is a massive choke point. About a quarter of the entire world's oil passes through it every single day. So whoever controls that strait has a direct impact on the global economy, and yeah, the price you pay for gas. Which leaves us right here, with the ultimate question at the heart of this whole thing. You've got compelling arguments on both sides, but zero certainties. It's a choice between the risk of doing something and the risk of doing nothing, forcing a leader to make a call that will absolutely shape history without any real way of knowing what happens next.